In this lesson, I'm going to talk about the future tense and the future continuous tense. When we use the future tense, we use it to talk about actions or states that we have planned for the future or are likely to happen in the future. So here are some examples. They will play soccer tomorrow and it will be a fun day. So obviously these two guys have a real plan for tomorrow to play soccer, but we can also make predictions about things that will happen. They're not like plans, but we can say it will be a fun day because we think that is going to be something that's likely to happen in the future. So we can use it for real plans that we make and for things that we think are going to happen. So the future tense is really easy to form. You just need to use the helping verb will to show the future tense, and then your main verb needs to be in the base form to show the action or state that will happen in the future. And it's the same for every subject. I, you, he, she, it. It's all going to be the same. It will be cold in December. We will be cold. You will be cold. So that's the nice thing about the future tense. The only thing you have to make sure of is that you know your base verbs. So the base form of a verb is the simplest form of a verb. So that means it has nothing extra. No to, no ed, no ing, no s. In other words, a base verb does not show tense or agree with the subject. So if you have the verb went, what would be the base form of that verb? So the base form of went is go. How about am? What's the base form of that verb? It is be. And how about has? What's the base form of that one? Well, that one is have. So you can see it's not always the shortest version of the verb, but it's the original form of the verb. And then did, the base form of that is do. And then walking, the base form of that would be walk. Opened, it would be open. Does, what do you think? That would be do again. How about was? That one is a variation of the verb be. So in the same way that, for example, I come from the Gilman family, and there are many different members of the Gilman family, each with their own name. So it is with the verbs. So there are a lot of verbs in the be family. Be is the base form, the original form, but then we have am, was, is, are, etc. So what about had? What family does that come from? What's the base form of that verb? Well, it's have again. And then were, the base form is be. Is, again, be. And are, again, be. So one source of confusion when students are talking about the future is between the phrase want to be and then using the future for will be. So I can understand this because we're using both of those constructs to talk about future plans. But the big difference is that when we are using want as our main verb, want is a state that we feel in the present. She wants to be a nurse. So it would be incorrect to say she will want to be a nurse because she is not planning how to feel in the future. She is having the feeling of wanting right now. It's a fact in the present tense. So it's a desire for the future, but the time period that she's feeling it in is now, and it's a fact about her a state that she's in right now. So that's why you should use want in the present tense. And then the future tense is for actions and states that will happen in the future. So an example might be, if she works hard, she will be a nurse one day. So that's a state that is likely to happen in the future. But if we're talking about want, that's a state that is true in the present, and so we need to use the present tense for that verb. Now let's turn to the future continuous tense and look at what that means. So we use the future continuous tense to talk about continuous actions that we are very sure will happen at a specific time in the future. So here's an example. He will be cleaning his house from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow, so he won't be able to meet us for lunch. So this is a continuous action. He's going to be vacuuming, changing the sheets, doing some laundry, and it's a very definite time that he's going to be doing it, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and a for sure plan. So let's just compare it with the regular future. So the regular future would be, he will clean his house tomorrow. So that's just kind of a general plan for tomorrow. But when we use the future continuous tense, we're emphasizing that it's going to be continuous, it's going to happen during a specific time period from 1 to 3, and it's a very definite kind of a plan. So let's look at how you form the future continuous. Again, it's not too difficult. You use will as the helping verb to indicate that you're talking about the future. You use the base form of be to show that it's a very certain, definite plan. And then you add ing to the main verb to show that the action will be continuous. So here we go again. You can see it's the same form regardless of what your subject is. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. It's all the same. Will be working. And here's another example. They will be working together next week. So it's going to be a continuous action for a specific time period in the future, and it's a definite plan. So let's summarize what we learned in this lesson. We learned to use the future tense to talk about actions or states that we have planned for the future or are likely to happen in the future, such as they will study grammar in the class and it will be a good class. We most often use the future continuous tense to describe a continuous action that we are very sure will happen at a specific time in the future. So here's an example. They will be studying the present perfect tense all of next week. To make the future tense, use the helping verb will and the base form of the main verb. And then to make the future continuous tense, use the helping verbs will and be, and then add ing to the main verb. And here we have some examples. For example, future, you would say, I will study. And for future continuous, you would say, I will be studying. And finally, we usually use the verb want in the present tense. So you would say something like, she wants to be a nurse, not she will want to be a nurse. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck in the future with learning to use the future tense correctly.